Hi, this is Matt George at the Surf Fest Earth Island Festival 2024.
So yeah, with this event, we're trying to bring everybody into one spot, and you know, this Pererenan river mouth is one of my favorite waves in the whole world. I surf here every single day, and I want to share like those fun moments. You know, like yesterday's a bit big, but today's more fun. But usually this wave is super fun. We can see people, you know, from a CEO of a, you know, like surf industry here, like Ripco, you know, the CEO is here. Jack Robinson was here. He's one of my good friends, you know, like it's all about support. You know, local friend like Made also here, and I don't know, it's just fun to get together when the wave is good.
You know, it takes inspiration to make something like this happen, and our inspiration is Tipi Jabrik. He is the one who has decided to bring the community together beyond all branding and sponsorship and all this. It's all been thrown to the wind. What this is about is bringing surfers together from as far as Aceh to Rote Island to come here and just have a great giant surfing festival together. And man, it's working, thanks to Tipi.
So this is the grand final of the Indonesian League. We have 14 clubs all over Indonesia. We have like 100+ surfers from like numbers of division: open men's, open women, juniors, and masters also. So this is the pinnacle of surfing Indonesia right now today, because from here we also gonna determine like the ranking of Indonesian surfers that can represent Indonesia into the world stage one day. So yeah, this is the breeding ground. That's it. Yeah.
Tipi Jabrik, thank you very much for making time here at the beautiful Uluwatu Villas.
It's not mine, but yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Great to meet you at the surf competition recently over the board riders, the Legian Board Riders Club.
Yeah, the LBC, yeah.
Where you claim to be a Hollywood photographer, and I board into it. First 1 minute of it.
Yeah.
Which tells me you got a bit of a sense of humor.
Yeah, I think it was a good event for sure. I think I won it that day. Yeah, I was born in Legian and grew up in Legian. I go to the local school in Legian. I surf every day in Legian. And yeah, my parents, my dad's, he's from Java, so next island, and my mom, she's Austrian. So they were living in Legian, you know, like a couple of years before we were born. I have one older brother and one younger sister, so I always feel like Legian is always our first home. It's so funny, after Legian, we moved to Seminyak. It's only like 300 meters away. But I kind of always said that I'm from Legian or I'm from Seminyak. But at the end of the day, like, I start my surfing in Legian, so I kind of like feel close to Legian as a surfer. But I live in Seminyak. But yeah, it's so close to each other. Like, it's hard to say Legian or Seminyak. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah.
I suppose then exponential development has seen smaller towns almost amalgamate. Back then, growing up, I suppose there was a little bit more space between Legian and Seminyak, or was it still quite interwoven?
No, it's funny. Like, back in the days, what separate one village to the other is like usually, oh, that big tree after that thing, it's Seminyak. Oh, beyond that river, it's different village. Or that rice field there is, you know, different village. But now it's more like, yeah, after that, I don't know what, like spa or tattoo parlor, that's a different village, you know. You know, these days, tattoo parlor is quite popular. You know, you throw any rocks, it will end up in a tattoo studio in Lagos.
Yeah. Stemming straight out of Kuta, because I suppose that's where it all, from a tattoo perspective, I mean, I've never seen such a collection of tattoo parlors as on the street in Kuta.
Yeah, it's also funny that Kuta and Legian is also connected.
Yeah.
Legian and Seminyak is also connected. So actually Kuta, Legian and Seminyak is one long stretch of kind of like the same kind of culture, the same kind of people, the same kind of businesses. So yeah, it's just one big unit, Kuta, Legian and Seminyak. Yeah.
Strong communities growing up as a young man.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was young, like, I look up to a couple older guys surfing, you know, like the older crew in Legian. Because when you were young, I started surfing when I was maybe like 4 to 6 years old. And I don't see anybody around my home break, which is 66. That was, you know, from 82 to 86. I hardly know anybody surf that time, you know, like you can count how many tourists there are on the beach that time. Maybe the max, I would say, like maybe like in 1 kilometer stretch, maybe like less than 10, you know, back in the days.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So times have changed.
It is changed, you know. Bali is always changing, you know. Bali is always changing from hundreds of years ago.
Okay.
You know, Bali is always, from my knowledge, Bali is always a big part of interest of a lot of, you know, like people, you know, back in the days, you know, like maybe the Chinese, you know, hundreds and hundred years ago, they see Bali as like one of this island that connect to big kingdom of Java, but there's another island next to it, and there's some Chinese like merchant came here, and then after that I think if I'm not wrong, maybe the Portuguese came here also, but I know that the Dutch was the Dutch was here, you know, a long time, but the Dutch never really conquer or have Bali as their you know, like a govern area, because Bali was always, the kingdom was always kind of like have a really good relation with the Dutch Indies company, VOC, So they do trading. So I think the Dutch company or the Dutch government they never feel like they need to invade Bali. So Bali is one of the last area in the colonial time that the Dutch never really conquer.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I mean, like, Bali has always been a big part of a lot of attention. Like tourists now.
Yeah.
But before the tourists was artists. Like artists want to come to Bali. They want to have this kind of like, like maybe like those Tahiti kind of thing that they have with the other artists that goes to Tahiti, but there's other artists that come to Bali also to capture the beauty, the nature, the culture, and now is the tourists. So Bali is always on the map.
Always been changing. So it had strong relations due to obviously it being on the trade route as well. So carrying spices from the east around through. Interesting that. And I was saying to Akung that there, I don't know if you know this, but there were some Indonesian people who came to South Africa quite a while ago, and that's why we've got similar words like kantur and pisang. We've got crossovers with the Dutch language and the Indonesian language, even in South Africa.
I think there's a Indonesian village in Cape Town, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
Yeah?
I don't know. I heard about it.
You'll have to come visit. Well, there's a strong Hindu community in Cape Town, and as well as Muslim.
Yeah.
So, but there's definitely some Cape Malay Indonesian influence, in Southern Africa. So, what did you keep yourself busy with growing up besides surfing? I mean, I'm assuming that you took to surfing. You are blessed with waves along this coastline, absolutely blessed, and we all know this. But so, what did you fill your time with besides surfing growing up as a young man?
I don't know. Yeah, I was kind of like have really good local friends. We do a lot of like kids activities here, like play soccer. We call it football here, so we play football, and then I don't know, just we do the play kites a lot with the locals, and then catching fish in the river, whatever. But my passion has always been surfing, and the funny thing is, like, I even like convinced like couple my school friends, my local couple like from our neighborhood, just to keep surfing. I give them boards sometimes, like just so it doesn't feel too lonely to surf in Legian by ourselves, because there's a bit of a gap, like there is the older crew that been surfing since late 60s, early 70s, and we are surfing like late 80s. The gap is too far. Those guys might be already in their 20s, and we are still in our like 12 years old. So these people don't want to hang out with us. So we have to make our own crew back in the days. And we have maybe like, I don't know, 3 to 5 local guys that surf kind of like seriously, not because it's competition or anything, we don't know about sponsorship, this and that. We just, whenever there's a good wave, we just like, let's go surf. Like, we don't have any ideas of what we're doing. It's just weird. Like, maybe it's also influenced by like the old, VHS videos that we see, like maybe the old one that we see is like the one that about Hawaii, like Wave Warriors.
Hawaii 911.
Yeah, those era, like and then like suddenly they played a lot in Bali during those late 80s in a bar called Tubes.
Okay.
So Tubes is part of the surfing development in Bali, because it's a bar that shows a lot of surf movies, and then we know a lot about like surfing from that bar.
Wow.
Everybody go there.
It's kind of like a little bit of a school. Go and learn some of the, what's going on in the outside world at Tubes.
Yeah. So, and then suddenly, for example, like if we go to Tubes in 1992, for example, we watch a movie and we thought the movie is from like 92 or 91. It's actually from 87. So whatever that we got, it's like so like outdated. So we thought like guys like Dane Kealoha or something, like he was ripping in the 90s, but he was already like ripping since the 80s.
Yeah.
So we kind of like have this kind of like a slower, like I don't know, like the information that we get is super slow. But it's I don't know, like if I would know how surfers surfed during our time, which is like we kind of have the same era as like, I don't know, like maybe we have to say like, you know, like Taylor Knox, Devin this and that, Kelly Slater. But we get to know Kelly Slater not in 92 where he was like winning the at Trestle, for example, or he's winning the world title at 92.
Yeah.
We know he's winning the world title probably like in 93, 94.
Okay.
So everything is just so slow.
Slightly delayed.
Yeah.
Would you say that that had an influence on the style of surfing?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
For the Indonesians. So they were kind of like surfing like slightly more retro, like watching Dane in his earlier days, you know?
I think we got really influenced to see like guys like, you know, like the era before Kelly.
Yes.
That's who we idolizing a lot back in the days, you know, like maybe like, I don't know, maybe like
Sonny Garcia and
like more maybe
Collins and
maybe more like the Aussie guys, like, you know, like Gary Elkerton, Damien Hardman, you know, like Tommy Carroll, you know, like Barton Lynch. So, and then like we didn't know, like, because we know those guys are the big names, and then like later on when the tourist is a bit more faster come to Bali, then we catching up with more like information. Yeah, because tourist is the one who's bringing the information, not the internet. Even the surf magazine that we see is like, you know, like a couple of years older, you know, like some surfers bring it to Bali, you know, like put it under some restaurant or their villa, and then we get to see it, you know. So super slow. Yeah.
And in terms of hardware, was it the same story?
So yeah, the funny thing about Bali, like when we grow up, we expecting a lot of our equipment from the tourists. So when they come to Bali, we are on our teens age. The surfers who able to travel and have a holiday in Bali, they're on the more like kind of like a grown up age. So for example, they might be in their late 20s or like early 30s, and those surfers are like riding the smallest board at that time is probably like a 6.0, a 6.1, and we are maybe like, you know, from 12 to 15 years old to have a 6.0. We thought like, that's the size that we want. But if you think about it, my son now, he rides a 4.6. You know? Wow. So the equipment is totally different.
Yeah.
And then like to get equipment back in the day, it's like when the surfers like left their boards on the hotel, one of the hotel staff employee who understand about surfboard might sell it into a surf shop. And then we always update the surfboards on the surf shop. You know, like we ask them, hey, do you have a smaller board? No, it's only 6.5. You know, like it's too big. And
big
then,
rocker.
Yeah, and then slowly, like you know, like there's a 5.11 in Kuta.
Yeah.
And I asked them, how much is it? Like it's 700,000, for example. I don't have money. You better grab it. If not, it's just gonna go the next day. So yeah, so surfboard is a bit more like a commodity, you know, like hard to get. Yeah.
It's just okay. So it makes me think of that turning point where Tommy Curran famously rode a really, really short board here somewhere in Indo, right?
Yeah, that was in Asu, yeah.
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 And that's kind of when everyone's eyes open to the fact that, hey, we don't have to be riding like 6.5s and up, you know, or even like 6.3s. We could be going a lot smaller. You know, it's interesting that happened kind of.
Yeah, I think with
Indo.
with equipment back in the days, we don't care if you ride like my shortboard before was like a 6.1.
Yeah.
And when I see myself riding a 6.1 now, wow, that's such a big gun, you know. I think like of course, like equipment, we see what other people's do, and when they ride shorter board, we think like, we can also ride shorter board, you know. We never in surfing, we are not the influencer. We always see what other people do. Yeah. In surfing, like, we have the perfect wave, but we are just, the surf culture here is new, like if you see like Australia or even Japan, they're like older than us. We look up to them.
Gosh.
So yeah, we don't expect different now. Like now we have Rio and the World Tour, for example. Of course, we wanna put some stamp, like Indo is like also the part of a big surfing movement in the world now. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's wonderful to have experienced the local board riders, at Legian. We had the little competition, the team competition that you put on over in, how do you pronounce it? Pererenan.
Pererenan.
Yeah. Pererenan Beach, which is great. And we'll have a bunch of that content in here as well. But then also yesterday at Bingen Board Riders, and then I believe it's coming across to Uluwatu next week. And it's just awesome to see at grassroots level the amount of positive energy in Balinese and Indonesian surfing as a whole,
So yeah, like part of ASC's job is like, so we have also the Indonesian Surfing Federation called the PSOE.
Okay.
So I'm also in the PSOE as a Secretary General. So one of my main job is surfing development.
Got it.
So in 2008, a bunch of us get appointed by the government. Hey, there will be like a multi-event called the Asian Beach Game, and surfing gonna be inside that games. And we were like, we're not interested to associate with any government association, because surfing is always kind of like, it's, we never really like, what is the word for it? Depend outside our small community. So when the government said like, hey, you guys have to set up an association, we're like, yeah, whatever, this and that. But we have a really good friend in the government, like encourage us to see the future. And then since then we just say, okay, let's set up an association. So the association start around 2008, and that's the reason why we are sending team to the Olympics, sending teams for the national team, this and that. That's in the national level. But the funny thing is, like, personally myself, since 2001, I already set up my own company called the ASC. So the ASC is not personally only coming from myself, but the idea is coming from me, but the support coming from the whole community in the industry. So when I was young, I traveled around the world and see like how Australia do it, Japan do it, USA do it. And I was like thinking like, man, why would we travel, like to some foreign country when the wave is not guaranteed good? In every competition there, the wave usually like, man, like it could be onshore, it could be small, it could be like, it's nothing that we train for. We train in Bali, like for numbers of years, we surf perfect wave, fun wave, good wave. And then we have to face, like when we travel, when we want to face the world like this, like a world event, the waves are really, really bad. And I was thinking like, why are we traveling to these places? Why don't we make our own tour for us? And in 2001, like I was sponsored by Quicksilver. I said, hey, Quicksilver, give me $3,000. I'm going to make the first Indonesian series. I was thinking like, why it need to be a series? Why not a one-off event? A one-off event, you can be the champion, but there's a lot of factor in surfing. You might be lucky. You might catch the wave that you need. All the surfers that you defeat might not be in their best form. So I tell them like, we need to make 3 of them. So we have a series, we have a ranking system. So 2001, 2002, 2003, we have 3 years of those series. In 2004, we work with more industry like Quicksilver, Billabong, Rip Curl, Rusty, everybody. we said, let's make the first Indonesian championship. So 2004, we have the first Indonesian championship. We crown Indonesian champions. That's give like a benchmark for the surfers to aim, I want to be Indonesian champion. The industry, they can have like kind of benchmark, hey, you worth like 100 million a year, 200 million a year, 5 million a month, whatever. If you're like in the ranking, the industry have like a way to value you rather than I'm the hot shot in Legian. Like what is the guidelines if you're a hot shot in Legian, in Uluwatu, this and that. If you put in a platform and you prove yourself, and that's the idea, because the idea is not originally from me. That's what ASP been doing. That's what like.
You've gleaned
the
positives from other organizations.
Yeah, and then that's what football been doing. That's what basketball been doing. With competition, it makes stronger. It put like all the puzzle together. So from 2001 until 2008, we're like, I think we're ready. Indonesia is already like too strong for our own Indonesia. Everybody is just ripping. Everybody's doing good. So I talked to Malaysia, Thailand, Philippines, Taiwan, and other countries. Let's create the Asian Surfing Championship Tour. So in 2008, we started Asian Surfing Championship Tour. So we crowned the Asian champion. And it was really good. You know, the Asian surfers like growing. Look at Philippines. Now they have world tour surfers in their longboard. You know, like it's just growing. And then I'm thinking like, what is the aim of all surfers? They want to be in the WCT. They want to be on the world tour. So after that, I talked to WSL. Hey guys, any event that we think have the financial, like strength or capability to become a WSL event, we will propose it to you guys. We're gonna upgrade some of our event to become a WSL event, and that's become really, really a good way for us Asian to have like our own kind of like a way of what do you call that, like a
ranking.
It's a bit more like it's like a platform easier for us to go to the WCT.
Got you.
Because before, back in the days, you have to go travel around the world.
Come up with funding.
If we are just in Asia, we familiar with the food, we familiar with the weather, we familiar with the wave. We have the advantage.
Makes sense.
So that's the way I think. I'm not thinking about how Australia are going to make to the top. The Japanese, the Americans, they're leading in a lot of things. But in Indonesia, in Asia, somebody need to put all this groundwork to have Rio, for example. Without somebody putting all this foundation, I think Rio can still get up there, but he need to figure it out on his own. For a 18 years old kid to figure it out everything on himself is not easy. So when the foundation is there, it's not only for Rio, it's for everybody. It's also for the kids that you saw on LBC competition. There's a platform, there's like a pathway. So it's not only this pathway is not only for certain people, but it's for all of us in Indonesia and also in Asia. So that's the reason why and how AAC is there. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Like that, yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, it kind of like it gets them prepared for that competitive mindset, because there's a whole psychological, it's great to surf and it's great to rip, but being thrust into the competitive arena, it's a step up from a psychological point of view as well. And I think that having these local competitions and a platform to be able to be exposed to a level of pressure, within familiar surroundings is a great way to sort of like school them, right?
Yeah, the funny thing is, like, as a surfers, like I was traveling, like to all these places. So we surf like in some kind of a platform, they call it, like the old WSL called ASP, and now it's WSL. So we are already exposed in our mind to a lot of things about, like Gabriel Medina is a champion, John Flores is a champion. So we want to be there. And how do we get there? It's a long process. And then like when we did the Indonesian Surfing Championship and then also the Asian Surfing Championship, that's for the elite. And then 3 years during the COVID, I was thinking that's only for the guys that can surf good. That's the elite. The elite will never gonna. The elite is something that need also to have a process how to create more elite. That's the reason why during the COVID, we have another meeting with all the industry in the community. I said to them, hey guys, why Australia is so strong? Because they have the board riders culture.
Yeah.
And then why the English football have such a strong national team, the Spanish football have such a strong national team. It's because of the La Liga, the Premier League, the Serie A in Italy. It's all about league. So before we were doing the Elites Surfing Championship, and then now 4 years ago, I proposed let's do the grassroots. That's when the Indonesian Liga, the league came, and that's where the LBC is doing their series, because we were thinking we need to create more Rio, and how do we do that? Is not by doing only elite surfing competition, but we need to also have the grassroots event.
Yeah.
So in the Liga, we tell all the clubs around Indonesia. So in 2019, I did some inventory. I call, I check on the internet. I ask people, and we have around 100 surf club around Indonesia.
Wow.
And my dream is to have 100 surf clubs events, surf series that runs their own show. So in 2019, for example, so we have like around 15 clubs starting it, and one of the division that they must have is under 10, because the under 10 is when the parents have a 6 years old, they will push their kids. 7 years old, still pushing. 8 years old, they might catch their own wave. 9 years old, riding the wave. 10 years old, they might ripping on the wave. And from 10 years old, they're going to go up into the next junior division. So it's just a cycle of creating more surfers. So the league is actually a way, a way of it's like our machine to create those under 10 years old surfers, right? That maybe in the first year you have 100 surfers, and then like 20 of them gonna continue as a surfers. That's good enough. Who knows what more surfers is better for this country. We have a lot of wave, we have a lot of surf businesses, we have a lot of tourists that come here to surf. We don't want to have surf guide come from overseas. We need to take over the surf opportunity.
For sure.
So this is
from within.
Yeah. So this competition, creating more surfers is not only for surfing as a professional, but after you become professional, or before you become professional, if you're not good enough or something, there's a lot of surfing opportunity in Indonesia. Look at this place.
Yeah.
They call it Surf Villa, for example. We want more Indonesian to see something like this, and they're all surfers. They own a piece of, like a pride of the wave of some surf spot. And they said, hey, I'm a local here. I surf here. I want to take some part of why people come to surf this place. I want to have maybe some business opportunity also. So we don't want to see like modern colonialism again from what we do as an Indonesian with our foundation as a surfer.
A hot topic right now is the influx and the amount of foreign investment and the impacts that this foreign investment is having, particularly from if we have a look at what's happening at the cliffs of Uluwatu, the amount of media around that, and everyone's got their half a sense and their opinion about it. There's definitely a major influx of building that's happening around Bali. What is your personal take on it?
So yeah, I think living in Bali is like sometimes you always hear like, there's a person that came here, and the last time they were in Bali like 10 years ago, and they come like today, for example, they're in a shock. 10 years ago, it's so different, like there's so many changes, this and that. That's in 10 years span. There's a lot of things going on. And I meet another person, and the guy said like, I was here last month.
Yeah. When did the building go?
So there's a 10 years, there's last month, and there could be like 1 week guy just went for a visa run and came back, something changed, So Bali is so dynamic, like things change in Bali, like, I don't know, it's crazy. So for myself, like in some time frame of my life, I was like, God, why there's so many changes in this island, like why this thing happened, that thing happened, why people like going so fast on a motorbike, this and that. In some moment, like I go like, like I'm not happy with this. But living in Bali, you have to have a way of learning how this island live their life, like you have to pull back. And then when you pull back, like all those soundtrack that you hear about, people grinding, this and that, like it become doesn't matter. Because Balinese people, they're so nice, they just, it's almost, it seems like they don't care. But actually it's not true. They do care. But when you already started building a villa, for example, if Balinese people are like, have different kind of like a culture, they're going to go crazy to that building site and tell them to stop it.
Okay.
But if they do that, that building site going to become a mess. So people in Bali will let people do their thing, finish it up. And in their mindset as a Balinese, they're going to say, it's okay. It's going to become better. Like, for example, what happened on the cliff. Nobody can judge, is that going to become a better or a worse things happens in this island? Because this island already been through like a lot of things in our life. We've seen a lot. 20 years ago, we never seen like a beach club. Now there's like 50 beach club. Like when they finish building it, some might survive, some might like, close their businesses, this and that. But at the end of the day, the Balinese people will always say this to themselves. Let them finish whatever they're building. Could be foreigners, could be Indonesian, whoever. Let them finish their whatever they're doing. Could be a business, could be a villa. They're always going to say, that person is building on my neighbor's land. That person is renting or lease or buying from my cousin. So you cannot put any pressure on anything that happens in Bali, because it relate to another Balinese.
Got you.
And then the last thing that's happened is also when you rent a land in Bali, the landowner going to say, when you do something in your house, in your land, you might make a hotel, make a villa, make a restaurant. They're going to say, make sure I can work there. Make sure my family can work there. So for them, their investment is also a working investment.
Got you.
So when they're building a hotel, that hotel might hire 50 Balinese. So that's giving an opportunity. So when the Western world say, why there's so many villas, so many hotels? Well, all those hotels and villas also give opportunity for work, for more Balinese. So Balinese people will never say, stop building that hotel, because it will give more opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But the sad thing is not about there's this development, that development. It's just the mentality of a lot of people that come to this island. They don't adapt. They don't learn what is the right thing to do in Bali. You know, the architectural is wrong, the design is wrong, the mindset of the building is wrong.
Yeah.
So if you're doing everything right, everything will be right. But if you come to Bali and everything is just out of places, this island will do a reset. You know, like, I believe that. So you can bring like some kind of crazy ideas from, I'm not going to mention place, but from wherever. From wherever. If it doesn't fit in this island, something will, the energy will push it away. As simple as that. There will be some energy. I don't know what, you know, maybe some good friend of that rich guy gonna say, hey, it's not proper, it's not correct. Maybe the Balinese will never say anything. The Balinese is nice people. They're gonna say, can I rent your land? And they're gonna say yes. Can I build like a crazy design? And they're gonna say yes. They're never gonna say no. That's our culture. Yeah, so that's the Balinese way. So a lot of people don't understand. They think we're just so nice and you can just exploit the island, but the island have a way to also to get rid of those people.
For sure, yeah. We speak about like positive and negative energy, and I know that it forms a part of having spoken to a lot of local Balinese people, the belief system that, you know, everything comes around in its own time, and if the energy is not good, as you say, the island's going to have something to say about it. Sure. I mean, we were a few days in and we got to experience what I believe is an earth tremor that hasn't actually happened in this sort of district that we were at. We were staying in Kuta at the time, and I actually felt it. And I was chatting to someone, and I was just thinking about it. You know, maybe it is the island just saying, saying something.
Yeah,
right?
I know. Maybe enough is enough sometimes. You know,
sticking enough pins and needles in my back, I'm gonna just take it off.
For sure.
Yeah, interesting that, eh?
Yeah.
But there are those that, if they take the time out and be respectful of the local people and understand the culture, and I think the beauty of having these conversations is being able to, you know, express yourself and help others learn that if you're going to come to Bali, take time out to, you know, understand how the Balinese mindset.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think like there's a wave of Westerners that come to Bali. There's a wave. And this wave have different motivation. The first wave is like they want to be, you know, one with the culture of Balinese. They want to capture it as a painter. That's the first wave. And then like before that is more about, you know, the dancing, the tradition. That's in the 30s. And then after that the artistic wave, you know, the painters. And then after that there's no tourists in Bali at all. In the 50s, 60s, there's no tourists come to Bali because we're in the in the time where the revolution was on. There's no tourists in Bali. Incredible. And then in the 70s, there's a bunch of hippies come to this island. So the motivation of people that come to Bali is not exploitation. They want to escape to this magical island. They don't have any idea making like a villas, like a restaurant. They don't.
Yeah.
They want to have that psychedelic experience in the island that offer that environment. Bali was magical.
Yeah.
You go left, you go right. Coconut trees, cows, mushroom, this and that. It's just right way for those movement. In the 80s, there's more Australian come here. They want to surf. That's why there's like a lot of surf bungalows in Kuta. In the 90s, it's a bit of a mix of new wave. This wave is a little bit of the 80s wave and the 90s wave. They think, that guy have a nice house in that rice field. I want to have also a rice field view in my house. But that's not exploitation. It's just they want to enjoy the island. They want to have a house with a nice view. And then in the early 2000s, all these houses become like rental houses, for example. You know, like, oh, they're making money. So they have this idea. Villas started in the early 90s. Villas, I don't know, even villas is coming from a word called village. So village is like, I don't know why they call it villas.
Yeah.
You know, back in the days, we used to call it bungalows.
Yeah.
Because bungalows is like what we're familiar with.
Yeah.
And then like there's a lot of like villas, and people start make, back in the days, the villas is one house, big yard. And then in the early 2000s is big yard with a lot of bungalows. So they just like, and that's when the exploitation started. When they think like, what is the word? Maximizing your investment.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's when it started. You know, back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then now is the peak of exploitation. It's the peak. They just want to make. If you go to Uluwatu, they make houses, villas, whatever, in such a like extreme environment that none of us in Balinese people are gonna think, let's do that. Like we're never gonna think about it. They make a villas on the cliff of Bingin, for example.
Yeah.
You know, they drill the cliff to make a swimming pool. So the exploitation level is just beyond. And it's just, you know, that's from this part in the 30s to now, there's a wave of people that come to this island with different motivation.
Yeah.
And the motivation now that I have to say with a lot of foreigners that come to this island is a lot of mix. This motivation is just, it's too much for this island. Yeah.
I think it's the motivation, the mindset that numbers are more important than people.
Yeah.
And so if the numbers make sense, it doesn't have to make sense to the people.
Yeah.
It just has to make sense on a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
And
it's a bit sad, you know, as a surfers, you know, like we see that as a person who live in Bali, I only see two things in my life. So it's always simple. It's always black and white, you know, like bigger or smaller. And I see it as a better or worse. So whatever that happens now, in a better way, we see more opportunity for surfers, you know, to do like surf lessons, for example. But the problem is, the more surf lessons that we do, some people have this idea, let's make more surf camps, surf houses, surf, you know, like, so the exploitation is just beyond everything that we can think. It's just too much. Yeah. Too much.
Getting to a tipping point.
It is. And then I know the sad thing is that we've been in a lot of cycle of reset. I know Bali will be an island that foreign people are going to say, it's not nice anymore in Bali. Let's not go to Bali. So Bali going to become like a place that they're going to kind of like abandon a little bit. And we want that. We need that moment. When Bali is in the moment of, it cannot handle all those things. And that's the reset button again. And then slowly we can have the right people that want to be in Bali, the right mindset, because all these people need to go out, because maybe they don't reach the numbers anymore. Maybe they're gonna go to different places. They can do those things, because Bali, the infrastructure, we have small road, traffic is crazy. We have water problem. We have a power problem. How can we manage all these ideas of exploitation? Bali cannot handle it. Bali will get rid of all those places because they don't belong here, and they're not going to be happy if Bali doesn't cater what they need.
Yeah, I think that when the lights go off on the padel court or at the Botox studio or at the protein smoothie bar, that's when
the tipping point. They don't have the right smoothie for me. I'm going somewhere else. You know, I'm out of here.
Crazy. Having experienced it in Canggu, it's like I said to my wife, you know, now that we're out here in Uluwatu and we took a drive up the coast on the scooter, and I said, you know, this feels like Bali now. You know, and you go to Canggu, and I'm sorry to say it just does not, compared to what we've experienced, having come here 6 months ago and gone over to Lembongan, and you know, and then you sit in Canggu and you're like, doesn't feel like Bali. It just does not unfortunately, it just doesn't feel like Bali.
Yeah.
The wave's great when you're out surfing and that with your kids.
Yeah, the wave is still there.
But the minute you start walking up the street and you just see the architecture and the, as I
Doesn't
say,
fit in.
the Botox bars and the you know, people are
Everybody just want to look good. They go to the gym.
Yeah.
They have the coffee,
aesthetic.
and everything is just like, yeah, like you said, it's just outside. But inside, they don't care about this island. And then the crazy thing is, Bali is a quite big island. It's this craziness only happens in Canggu and Uluwatu. It's such a small part of the island. If you go outside out of all those things, it's still Bali. It's still nice. But the problem is, I don't want to promote that. If I said, "Oh, there's a nice place outside Canggu and Uluwatu," they're gonna like, "Where is it?" I want to go check it out, and that's chance for more exploitation danger. So sometimes I don't want to promote if there's another nice place in Bali. There isn't.
Yes, it's like not talking about that secret surf.
Yeah.
No, we just don't talk about it.
I know.
You just keep your mouth shut.
It's crazy.
The last thing you want is your mates, like 500 of them, surfing it with you.
I know.
It's the same story. Yeah, look, and in terms of the future for Indonesian surfing, do you feel like being so involved as, you know, with the ASC, right? Asian Surfing Corp. And do you feel it's on the right track? I think it's a bright future for Indonesian surfing.
There's always successor in every plan, you know. But if the successor is having the same motivation, it's pretty crazy. Like, the reason why I'm doing this, because I'm so passionate about surfing. I'm so passionate about who I am, where I am, where I'm from. You know, I'm so passionate. To find a person that have that passion about surfing and want to see, like, in another 50 years where we're gonna go after me, after our crew, you know, whoever supporting surfing now, you know, it needs those kind of like dedication, and hopefully we can find those people, because, you know, with all this grassroots, we might identify people that can also, hey, you do have this skill to manage, to operate for the benefit of surfing. So I think the future is quite good. The wave is always good here, and we already put like a lot of like a foundation. You know, we managed to bring an athlete to the Olympic. We managed to you know to have surfing all over Indonesia now. So I think the future is pretty good. It's all about also if there's an economic support for it. You know, you cannot be successful if there's no money in there. There's a limitation in a lot of people also how far their dedication is. So I hope government putting more money in surfing so we can see the continuity of the development. And the government do now, after the Olympic, putting more extra like investment, and with the government support, hopefully we can just keep growing. Yeah, we want to become like, at least, you know, I mean, like the American, the Australian, the European, the Brazilian, and the you know, the South Africa is always up there, but we want to be not too far behind them in some ways. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's, as I've said already, I'll say it again, it's so encouraging to see the young men, like from a very young age, being encouraged to get involved with the local board riders. And I think that, I personally think it's got a very bright future.
Yeah, I hope so too, yeah. Because the board riders is also, you know, a family, a community, a foundation. And if all the boys think the clubs is a big part of this foundation and development, I think it should be all right, yeah.
Where would you be without surfing?
I don't know. The easiest thing that you can tell now, maybe a Gojek driver, yeah. It's the easiest, you know, like everybody's doing it.
The classic.
I don't know, maybe
I think you're with your passion and the fire within, I think you'd have been a little bit more than a taxi driver. I think channel that energy elsewhere. Maybe a Hollywood filmer. Eh?
Nah, it's just I like to film. I used to film and edit before for my job as a Quicksilver team manager. And we used to promote like the team riders, like make them a clip, this and that. I think with like visual and video, it's good to promote who you are as a surfers. So I also encourage like a lot of surfers these days, to be able to make the profile with like video and just share it with anybody. The platform is there for free, like Instagram, YouTube, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think
a little side hobby of yours.
Not really, yeah.
I mean,
yeah, it's
you're on the beach shooting clips.
Yeah, I like to shoot videos, but it's not my passion.
Okay.
What I like to do is actually like I would love to travel around Indonesia and find more waves, promote more waves for the benefit of the local economy. That's my other passion. Yeah.
Sort of expose, as you say, like maybe not too many unexplored breaks, but drive attention and revenue so that Indonesian surfing in places maybe that haven't had the opportunity to have a board riders. Or there might be the next young Indonesian star in one of these villages.
Yeah, that's what we've been doing, because like we go to places from Aceh to Papua, for example. So we identified a lot of waves in Indonesia, and then we work with the local government, said, hey, you do have a potential wave that you can expose to the world, and that's can have like a tourism impact on it. And then like the local government, like they like it, and we have success story with Krui, with Nias, with Mentawai, for example. If you consistently doing that surf promotion, in small ways, in medium way, or in the big ways with an investment, tourists will come. If you put some ideas how to get there, where to stay, and what kind of wave they are, it's enough. People will come.
For sure.
Waves are magnet, like people will work for 3 months in Europe, for example, to surf, 2 to 3 weeks in some remote island in Indonesia. And that happens. So yeah, I think if you have a good wave, you blow it up to the world, people will come.
Which is as you say, a positive impact on development
for sure
of the local.
Yeah. And then fast forward 20 years or 30 years, you're going to have infrastructure problem in that place. Just like Bali.
It's just
yeah.
Tipi, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Yeah.
Tom, hopefully we can get some of this good energy out there and expose just the cool stuff that's happening within Indonesian surfing, and gentlemen like Tipi who are doing their best to keep it culturally intact, whilst, as you say, doing your best to encourage local surfers and build that sort of that next, whether he's on the CT or the,
wherever,
Indonesian surfer. Yeah. But you're doing it from a very noble place, and I think that good energy that is evident.
Yeah. Hopefully it's benefiting a lot of Indonesian people, and that's the main idea. Nothing more, nothing less. Yeah.
You're a representative of your people, essentially, within the surfing world, of the Indonesian people. So yeah, keep doing it, man.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Yeah, appreciate it.
Take your time.
Yeah.